Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, honorable mayors. My name is Dana Eleftheriadou, and I'm heading the Citizen Proximity team in the European Commission in the Director General for Internal Market, Industry, Entrepreneurship and Small and Medium Enterprises. I'm very happy to moderate our discussion today. Today is the end of the first week of COP28. It marks a pause to take stock of the negotiations and pledges done so far before ministers take over to spell out how they plan to go ahead and to fix the shortcomings. The European Union has led the way by committing to triple the renewable energy power capacity by 2030, as well as to double the rate of improvement of energy efficiency every year until 2030. In this context, the question that we're going to discuss in this panel is the role of cities, and more specifically, the role of local green deals in implementing the global climate ambitions and the Green Deal Industrial Plan at local level. The objective of this panel is to present best cases, opportunities, and challenges for urban green transition in a dialogue between political leaders and business representatives. We have with us an impressive lineup of distinguished speakers, and I will start with no further ado by inviting Valentina Superti, who is the director at the European Commission, Director General for Internal Market, Industry, Entrepreneurship and Small and Medium Enterprises. Valentina is responsible for European policies on tourism, textile, proximity and social economy, and the digitization of industry. Valentina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dana, so much. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you around the world. And dear mayors, deputy mayors, cities, business leaders, all of you. Thank you so much for being here with us today, where I think an important discussion will be taking place. What is this about? This is about, on the one hand, the very ambitious targets that the Union and the European Union has set for itself in terms of climate neutrality targets and generally, we can say the greening ambitions of the Union on the one hand, but then the topic today, I think, should be what is the role of local realities and cities in particular, in order to help those objectives to be met in practice. Because, of course, one thing is setting the ambition, which is important, is essential. The ambition has to be shared, of course. It's also very important. But then it's equally important that we move from words to action. And cities are particularly well placed in order to help us all. At the end of the day, this is for all citizens that we are doing this to achieve a more sustainable planet. So perhaps let me just remind you and myself, actually, and ourselves, what is the context, the policy context that we are operating in. So as you know, this commission, which took office in 2019, from the very beginning, has put forward a so-called European Green Deal as being its first flagship policy initiative. Yeah. So what is this about? What is this about? This is about Europe wanting to be the first climate neutral continent by 2050. And by the way, this commitment has been already enshrined in law. So this is the law that we are committed to honor here in Europe. On the other hand, I think for this discussion, what is useful also to remember or remind ourselves is that the European Commission has set out a strategy for industry. So for European industry in particular to become more competitive, and how, in particular, by becoming more sustainable, digitally enabled, and resilient. And when I say industry, it's not, because the term is potentially misleading, it's not about big industry, it's also about big industry who has to help reaching the greening objectives, but it's also very much the many small and medium-sized enterprises operating in Europe and actually across the continent. So this industrial strategy says that industry and businesses should meet the climatic, so to speak, objectives, and that overarching objectives that Europe has set for itself. In particular, within then the industrial strategy, the Commission has also adopted a specific European Green Industrial Plan and a so-called Net Zero Industry Act, which is supposed to boost key technologies for achieving the green transition. And also, as a reminder, the Commission has recently adopted a Critical Raw Materials Act that is supposed to set the condition to foster the availability of those raw materials which are essential for, again, achieving the transition. So overall, our objective is to scale up clean tech manufacturing in Europe, improve energy efficiency, strengthen security of critical raw material supply, but at the same time, foster circularity and sustainability. So this is the framework we are operating in. Another element of the puzzle, this is a complex exercise and it's a complex puzzle, skills, people. So people should be part of the picture, of course, and people means also skills. So we are vividly now aware that achieving the transition can only be done if the people have the right skills to do so. So there is a massive exercise to be undertaken in terms of, in particular, upskilling and reskilling. And this is across industrial sectors, so it's a completely horizontal exercise. So this is the framework, which is, of course, useful. Not only, I think it's necessary, but it's not sufficient because, again, I'm repeating perhaps here, but it's important. It will be a lot about implementing, putting in practice. And here, the point here is that without cities and local businesses, this will not simply be possible. So cities, without pressure, I'm saying, without wanting to put pressure on you, but I want to nonetheless say that you do play a fundamental role you're not the only ones, but you do play in a fundamental role in this, in this complex exercise. And with all this in mind, you know that we are doing our bit here in the European Commission, beyond, putting targets and doing laws. We are also working with cities closely. We have a number of initiatives and one for which we are particularly responsible is the Intelligent Cities Challenge. And with this initiative, we think we are doing we're giving our small yet important contribution to support cities in this endeavor. And how do we do this in practice? We are working on so-called local green deals. And just to give here now a heads up to all of us, an example, it's just one example out of many virtuous ones. The Mannheim City Administration, which has set up a cross-discipline local Green Deal governance team, reporting directly to the mayor. What are they doing? They are striking deals with industry and businesses in order to, to have those who have to be on board to achieve this transition. So this is about also cities together with businesses. The Intelligent Cities Challenge has this particular feature is that we are concentrating also on the business dimension. So championing city mayors and business representatives who are leading the way with local green deals. So you are all joining us today, and I'm very happy that you will be able to share your experience and valuable know-how. By the way, learning through exchange is already half of the job, I think. Perhaps just a couple of data on the Intelligent Cities Challenge that is successfully managed by Dana, by the way. So we are supporting 136 cities, and we have overall facilitated 42 local green deals across Europe. We are also providing expert training, capacity building support that have helped cities across Europe leverage close to 2 billion from various sources. And we have more than 800 businesses and organizations that are engaged with us in this exercise. And this year, we have launched the second edition of this initiative, and we are already working with a network of 80 European cities from 18 countries. So this is, I think, good news. Okay, so I hope with this I was able to give you a snapshot of the situation, a flavor of what perhaps the discussion could be about. I again thank you very much for your presence. I am sure there will be a lot of good exchanges. And at the end of the day, again, political ambitions are important. They are essential, but they are not enough. So future is also in our collective hands. Thank you so much for your attention. Dana, up to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Valentina, for giving us the political context, at least the European context. Thank you very much for that. And now I would like to pass the floor to Ricardo Rio. Ricardo Rio is the mayor of Braga, the third largest city of Portugal, but he's also a member of the Intelligent Cities Challenge, as well as of the European Committee of Regions and the European Committee of Regions, and in particular the working group that is working on the Green Deal going local. So a very similar, actually the same idea of having the European Green Deal delivered at local level. So Ricardo, from your experience as Intelligent Cities Challenge mayor and as the Committee of the Regions representative, how can political leadership and coalitions with the private sector help drive the city responses to the European Green Deal? Floor is yours.
Thank you, Dana. Thanks for the invitation to participate in this very interesting session. Greetings also to Valentina, to all my dear colleague mayors and representatives from local and regional authorities, and to all the participants in this session. And thanks for the opportunity to share with you my brief remarks on this subject. I'll start by saying that cities and regions are significantly at risk from climate and environmental issues, which have strongly affected their economy and their societies. Making the green transition a top priority is crucial, as we all heard a lot of times in these days, and accelerating this transition requires global cooperation and clear global goals. Here, where I am at COP28, this is a very important issue, and we are trying to move forward in this direction. At the European level, the European Green Deal is a valuable plan for Europe's sustainable and prosperous future, but it needs timely implementation and transformative policies. Local and regional authorities play a key role in spanning up transition to climate neutrality and achieving the European Green Deal objectives. The successful examples of many local Green Deals, which have already been referred across Europe, demonstrate the vital role of these local and regional authorities in these transitions. However, it is also important to underline that the European Green Deal needs to adapt to new challenges. Recent events, like the war in Ukraine and natural disasters in Europe, have created new priorities. The need for an accelerated transition is now a top priority as economies shift and many places become more vulnerable to climate change. From my perspective, local political leadership plays a pivotal role in steering the city responses to the twin transition, and it has many benefits in several dimensions. The first one is because we set ambitious goals. Political leaders can inspire cities by setting ambitious and visionary goals aligned with the principles of the twin transition. Establishing clear targets creates a sense of purpose and direction for the city. And if we look, for instance, at the SDGs, although the Agenda 2030 will be a bit difficult to achieve, this policy engages the world in sustainable development. For local green deals to succeed as well, they need support at all levels of governance. Multi-level action is a core principle of the European Union, and the European Committee of the Regions, to which I belong, works daily to uphold this principle. Here, at COP28, the European Union is advocating for increased involvement of local and regional governments in international climate agreements, recognizing their leadership in accelerating climate actions. We have members of the core and representatives of local authorities in several panels throughout these days, sharing best practices, showing the way. And I think that it is very important for the European Union to show that this is something that makes us probably leaders at the global level. This great opportunity of collaboration that we have been setting also through the Green Deal between the different levels of government. Also, we can also drive change by advocating for supportive policies at regional, national, and international levels, like we are doing now. And political influence from the local authorities is instrumental in shaping policies that facilitate and accelerate the twin transition. At the same time, the European Green Deal must become a positive experience for all the citizens at the European level in the ground. It should provide strong support to businesses and to ensure and achieve climate goals benefits at local and regional economies. This requires active engagement from local and regional authorities at the closest governance level to the citizens. Another essential factor for success is involving businesses and the private sector. Companies must partner with cities to take more ambitious action on climate, and this partnership can help companies implement more ambitious climate plans and assist cities in achieving their emissions targets. For this, it is crucial to build collaborative partnerships. Political leadership of the cities should focus on fostering collaborations between the public and private sectors, local communities, and other stakeholders. Building these strong partnerships ensures a collective and inclusive approach to addressing the challenges of the twin transition once again. And companies should collaborate with city leaders to support green jobs through workforce development, as it was already mentioned, and investing in cities, green jobs and skills hubs can create a stronger workforce for climate action, improve living standards, even for vulnerable communities. Local green deals are excellent tools for facilitating effective cooperation between the private sector, civil society, and academia, pooling resources and moving towards common goals. They enable locally driven public-private partnerships that amplify the value of green investments. Also, we can promote innovation and technology adoption through the exercise that is allowed by the local Green Deal, and we can obviously contribute to ensure a more equitable transition, which is obviously crucial for the balance of the development in each territory. This COP presidency offers an opportunity for cities and businesses to demand a phase-out fossil fuels and stronger political leadership on climate. Advocacy alliances between city leaders and businesses can encourage national governments to implement more ambitious regulations. These messages are also part of the Committee of the Regions' work on the future of the European Green Deal. And the working group that Dana mentioned, the Green Deal Going Local, fully supports and is proud to be part of the local Green Deal story. This group is developing its position on the Green Deal 2.0, addressing key topics covered by local Green Deals like well-being, new economies, and preparedness. Finally, I am pleased to have participated in this event, and I look forward to what it lies ahead. And I would like to invite you to follow up our Green Deal 2.0 process at the Committee of the Regions Summit, which will be held on the 18th and 19th of March in Mons, in Belgium, under the Belgian presidency. I hope for a fruitful discussion and concrete steps forward. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ricardo. And indeed, you are reporting from the ground, from COP28, where the things are happening. Very glad to hear about the recognition at the local and regional level of the contribution of local and regional authorities in implementing the climate action at global level. So thanks a lot for that. With this, we will pass to the panel discussion, and I would like to invite first Lasse Freeman, the mayor of Aalborg in Denmark. Lasse has a clear ambition to make Aalborg the green capital of Denmark, with a commitment that started 30 years ago since the Aalborg Charter. So, Lasse, how do local green deals with businesses contribute to the city's sustainability goals? Can you share some insights on the most impactful local green deals that your city has concluded with local businesses? The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me participating at this session together with Mr. Jens Broberg from our local company, SP Jensen. And even though I share the same family name as the company, I'm not a family relative of SP Jensen. Jensen is the most common family name we have in Denmark. But thank you also for mentioning the Aalborg Charter that was developed at the European Conference for Sustainable Cities and Towns. We have a 30-year anniversary for the Aalborg Charter next year, and we celebrate this with the 10th version of the European Conference for Sustainable Cities and Towns. And here more than 1,000 participants will meet in Aalborg again to talk about sustainable development, this time with a focus on localizing the European Green Deal. So you are all very welcome to join us in Aalborg next year in October. But back to your question. Last year, we made a new climate action plan in Aalborg with a target of reducing 70% of our CO2 emissions in 2030 compared to the year of 1990. It's a major task that the municipality cannot achieve alone. To successfully reach the ambitious target, it's fundamental that we engage with our local community. And the green transition is an urgent matter for us. Through partnerships, we can commit each other to do actual actions. And as a municipality, we can support our citizens and companies in making synergies to speed up the pace of transition, just like Mrs. Valentina Superti mentioned. Through these partnerships, we can support our local businesses with the sustainable business development. And by doing so, they become more robust and also resilient in the future society, and we reach the city's goals at the same time. Regarding the impact locally defined in the scope of what is most impactful, for example, we have a local green deal with farmers that has committed themselves to build a biogas plant. This will ensure that the sustainable CO2 reduction and also an immediate impact on the climate, environment, and the energy sector. We also have local green deals with our local educational institutions. They commit themselves to incorporate the green agenda to their institution and their education. And we know that this affects many young people with a lower immediate impact, but it also have a significant impact on a longer term through better educated citizens for the future society. And we believe that both these types of impacts are necessary to reach the climate neutrality in 2050. I will finish my short introduction here by repeating that you are all very welcome to join us in Aalborg next year for our European conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lasse. So we all received the message. We will try to be there. And thank you very much for toning up the level of ambition among the mayors. Now, from the same city, we stay to Aalborg, and we would like to hear to the business representative, so the other side of the coin. Therefore, I would like to invite Jens Broberg, who is the non-executive board member of SP Jensen from Aalborg, to explain to us, Jens, as we're passing to the business viewpoint, was it evidence for the company SP Jensen to commit to Aalborg sustainability objectives and sign a local green deal with the city? What are the benefits for your business by implementing this deal? The floor is yours, Jens.
Thank you very much, and thank you to give us the opportunity to participate in this session. What we found out about the local Green Deal with Aalborg City was that it was not just a declaration of intent, but it was some kind of a mutual commitment to which we were held accountable. It also meant that we knew that the other companies that is a part of the local Green Deal, they also were committed and had allocated resources to their achievement to the same goal as us. The local Green Deal from Aalborg aligns with the SP Jensen's business strategy and values, and this alignment enhances the company's reputation and resonate with environmental conscious consumers and also customers. These sustainable practices would also contribute to a long-term viability for our company, because business that address the environmental concerns and contribute positively to their communities may be better positioned for long-term success. And signing the local Green Deal with the city is demonstrating our commitment to the community and to foster a positive relationship with customers, suppliers, and other stakeholders. If we look at the benefits, I think that participating in the local Green Deal allows SP Jensen to network with other organizations, authorities, and stakeholders who shares similar sustainable interests. And we also benefit from sharing knowledge and resources within the alliance, which is very good. And this includes things like best practice, technological solutions, and experiences with sustainable measures. It will also strengthen the company's reputation and can also be a way for us to stand out positively on the markets. And very important is that the local Green Deal also give us access to support EU funding and incentives from local authorities and other parties that SP Jensen can benefit from in our sustainable projects. We would not have been here today if we did not had the support from EU. Among other things, we had financial help to upskilling our employees at SP Jensen. And participating in the local Green Deal has also forced ourselves to review all our processes, and now we know that we know all the most significant CO2 impacts. And in some areas, the reduction of these will be an economic advantage. In other areas, it will require a strong economy. But it's possible for us to reduce the CO2 impact very significantly. So that was the answers for your questions.
Thank you very much, Jens. And that's an impressive list of benefits that you can see directly. I hope other corporates and large businesses that are listening around resonate with you and are convinced to participate in local green deals with the governments. Perhaps smaller enterprises will have more difficulties to face, but let's come to this later on in the discussion. Let's move now to another city, and I would like to invite Deputy Mayor Marja Ruikrok, alderman of Haarlemmermeer, and representative of the Amsterdam metropolitan area. Marja, welcome with us. You are a mentor city in the Intelligent Cities Challenge, which is other cities are looking at you as the icon, as the good example to follow. And you are a pioneering city in the local Green Deals concept. So the question here is, how did you manage to build these well-functioning coalitions across city departments with businesses and with knowledge institutions? What are the biggest challenges ahead for cities in developing collaborative governance schemes and collaboration with businesses?
Yes.
Maria.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm at Haarlemmermeer, next to the city of Amsterdam, and representing the metropolitan area of Amsterdam. And as Valentina mentioned, that ambition alone, political ambition, is not enough. If you want to do things together, you need the companies, the knowledge institutions, the local government, the national government, and you have to work together. So it's important to have political commitment and inspiring ideas. So you have to activate companies and people to step in these programs. And in the metropolitan region, we have different programs like using wood for building houses, or sustainable textile reuse, or something, or different things like that. And me myself, I'm an ambassador of the Green Deal cycling, so using the bike. And we Dutch people, we are famous for cycling, but it's very important to stimulate cycling, because there is a worrying thing happening. I'm not sure if it's happening everywhere else in Europe, but in the Netherlands we see that almost 25% of young kids cannot ride a bicycle, and they don't learn. Yeah, I see that you are surprised. I was a bit shocked as well, because if you're not learning to ride a bike at a very young age, you'll not be able to use your bike as a work home commute thing. So it's very important to stimulate young kids even before they go to primary school, so we call it preschool, and we already teach 700 children between 4 and 6 years to learn cycling, and also to try to learn their mothers and fathers to cycle, because it's very important. It's very healthy, because employees who commute with a bicycle, they have 1.2 days less illness a year. They're physically and mentally more healthy. So it's very, very important. So you have to work together with all these different parties, and even small companies. They connect with this local deal. So it's very motivating to do that together.
Thank you very much, Maria. Very, very interesting insight. And if it's 20%, if in Amsterdam, I can imagine in other parts of Europe is even bigger. So thanks for the insights and the good motivation for other cities to think about that. With this, let's move to another Nordic city, Skellefteå from Sweden. And I would like to invite Evelina Falesson. She is the mayor of Skellefteå. And well, Skellefteå is a core city of the Intelligent Cities Challenge since the beginning in 2020. We read recently that one of the biggest social transformations took place actually in Skellefteå with focus on sustainability. So the question here is, how did you manage to lead your city's transition and advance local green deals with local businesses? How do you see the opportunities and challenges around that? And what advice would you like to give to other cities around the globe that are listening to us? The discussion then will be completed by a business representative from the same city. The floor is yours, Evelina.
Yes, thank you, Dana. Well, achieving the 2030 agenda has been an opportunity for my hometown Skellefteå, and science and exercise experience shows that a green transition can be made and is being made in Skellefteå for new employments and new jobs. And that's what's happening here in my surroundings. And in my small town here in the north of Sweden, the journey has just already begun. But it hasn't always been like this. Around 10 years ago, the society was declining. People were moving out of here, and we had hard to get the welfare and the service to our inhabitants. But the municipality called for action to reverse this trend. Me and my political colleagues took action and invited the whole society to a dialogue about this situation. And that resulted formed into a common vision and agenda for the whole geographical area and its actors and the citizens. And the aim was, of course, to reverse this trend by using our strengths and our resources. And every part of the society was involved in Sweden's largest citizens' dialogue. Private sector, young people, people on parental leave, retired, sports club, the culture sectors. And together we created a why and a vision around our transformation. And that made it easier to start work together. And as you said, now our whole society is in a changing way and has gained momentum through the Europe's largest green industrial establishment has happened here, and it's the Northvolt battery factory. And today we are growing about 2,000 people this year, and we are heading to grow 20% in population in just 7 years. So it's in my town, it's obvious that the transition is made from and affects all parts of the society. And it's in Skellefteå, it's central that everyone plays a role in this transition. And it's also why it's so important to form partnership with the private sector as well as the civil society, academia, and other partners. So to answer the question, it started with this large citizen dialogue that I had described, and we were very open about our challenges for Skellefteå, and we have open institutions and transparent processes that creates these conditions. And by involving local businesses in these challenges, successful deals has been made from both parts, as our example with Skanska here will show. And we used our procurement as a tool to develop sustainable contractor workers together with the company. And our opportunity, as I said in the beginning, employment and new jobs, of course, but also for a sustainable place and a better daily life for our citizens. A sustainable future is an offer and not the sacrifice. That is something not only we in the public sector are aiming for, it's also important for many companies in our region. And the challenges are the financing and the shift of the financial models that we need. We can spend public money, but I don't think that will be enough because we are dependent on other actors also to see and act for a better daily life within the planet's boundaries. And to answer the last question, sustainable development is, as we all know, the only way forward. And involving ourselves and other in partnerships is crucial to make it robust and for the benefit of all. And thank you from Skellefteå.
Thank you very much, Evelina. Very, very inspiring talk. Thank you very much. Now we stay in the same city, she left you, and we would like to listen again to the business side. So we have with us David Norberg. He's the head of sustainability in Skanska, a big development company in Sweden. David actually was named Skanska's Sustainability Hero in 2019, so I'm sure he will have something to say about how and what were the incentives behind Skanska doing a local Green Deal with the municipality. David.
Thank you, Dana. Well, for Skanska, it's about building a better society and being a leader. Sustainability is our business, as our CEO said. And I think it's very satisfying to work in such a construction company. And as Evelina said, we have to do it together and with every party involved, and we have to do it transparent. No one can solve this by themselves, and we are very depending on each other. I think Skellefteå municipality really did a great job with the procurement model, and that led to a very sustainable project, Skellefteå Site East, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about now. The first we did together in the project was to set the vision for the project. Sweden's most sustainable civil project. It was the vision for the project. Skellefteå Site East was a fossil-free construction project preparing for 450,000 square meters of new industrial plots where we focus both on climate and social sustainability. We were very successful and managed to save 75% greenhouse gas emissions in that project. And the final cost was about 5 to 10% lower than calculated in the beginning. The project was awarded as Sweden's most sustainable civil project in 2021. And I think we learned a lot in Site East and took our experience into the next big project together with Skellefteå municipality. And it was called Hammarängen Skellefteå South, where we scaled up our sustainability work even more. And we were very successful in this project also. And that project that we built for the last 2 years was also nominated to Sweden Green Building Awards and also the Project of the Year in Sweden. We have just finished this project and it was also on the budget. It was a great project. And I think the success is not all about the technical solution and innovations. It's also about the culture and the whole team. It's about getting the team engaged and working towards the same goal. And to kind of answer your question, Dana, of the motivation and benefits from this local Green Deal with Skellefteå, I would say to be in the front line and to really take responsibility and actions for a more sustainable future. That we can, as a company, learn a lot from. I think so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Indeed, impressive projects, impressive ideas, very good collaboration with the municipality on this innovative procurement that I'm sure also in the Intelligent Cities Challenge, all cities are asking a lot about how they can apply a more green and sustainable public procurement. Yeah. So indeed, we have a lot to learn from each other. And now, I would like to come back to all of you. You know that they are listening to us from other parts of Europe, from other parts around the globe with totally different, sometimes political context than in the European Union. The question is the following. If there was one or two things that you would like to recommend to other cities that are listening to us and get inspired and they would like to go into down this way of creating local green deals between municipalities and businesses to support their sustainability objectives, what would those couple of things be? And perhaps we would start with the same order, going back to Ricardo Rio and all the rest. Ricardo?
Well, I think that the crucial element is the mobilization capacity that we have at the local level to engage all the stakeholders. This is not something that we can do just on our own, on the public authorities and the different levels of governance. We need to have the spirit to foster a clear partnership between all the stakeholders. And as I've been saying a lot of times, we do need a new governance model, because we rely a lot in political cycles. The mayors have to face elections. We have a short-term vision because we have obviously to plan for the 4 years ahead. But these issues can't be addressed on this immediate basis. They need to have a long-term vision. And to have that long-term vision, it can't rely just on a mayor or on a majority in a single moment in time. It needs to engage all the civil society so that they obviously push forward whomever is in charge of the municipality to address these topics and to foster the initiatives that have to be addressed. And I think that capacity to have a clear dialogue with all these stakeholders and to establish some sort of governance model in which they can participate is the crucial element to foster the Green Deal, the local Green Deals as well.
Great, very clear messages. Thank you also for raising this issue of shorter vision and longer vision, as we have the political leaders with us around the table. Lasse Freeman.
Hi.
Hi. What would be your recommendations to the other cities listening to us then? What would be the top things that they should do in order to initiate local Green Deals?
It's important to start the journey with our local companies, just like Jens mentioned from SP Jensen, to find ways to support them, also to collaborate and make a joint commitment as soon as possible. Again, the green transition is such an urgent matter that we can only reach this climate neutrality by activating everyone in the mission. And here the partnerships for action are a very strong tool, I believe.
Great, thank you very much. As I have you on the line right now, you mentioned partnership, all of you mentioned partnerships, and it's a great panel that we have two business representatives. However, both of those businesses are rather big businesses that can afford, let's say, to have the vision and to implement their vision. What about smaller businesses? I may ask, to give a focus on these ones because they may not be, they may not be able to afford more long-term vision. They are struggling for survival usually. So what is your experience of working with smaller enterprises?
For me, it would be the potential of collaborating with students, partnering up with students, especially also international students who we have many of in our city, and having them inside the company in student jobs, working also with master theses and different project work would be some of the main ingredients for me to say how to work with it, because we can also see that these students will get a job in the company afterwards, and also to rock the boat a little, to think innovatively.
All right, thank you very much for these fresh ideas. Sorry, Jens. Jens, the floor is yours. I believe you gave already in the first round an impressive list of benefits for your company. What then would be your recommendations to other cities and or corporates, or let's say smaller enterprises, on how they would go ahead around local Green Deals?
Yes, okay. As I see it, there are 5 headlines. There's comprehensive planning, there's partnerships and collaboration, as everyone is talking about, policy framework, education and awareness, and then, of course, celebration of success. And first of all, to develop a comprehensive and realistic plan that outlines specific goals, timelines, and measurable targets for sustainable initiatives, like Aalborg did. Then collaborate with local businesses, non-profit organizations, educational institutions, as Lasse mentioned, and government agencies to pool resources and expertise. And that has always been the approach for SP Jensen. If you look at the policy framework, it's important to implement supportive policies and regulations that incentivize green practices, and at the same time ensure that support for technology leaps is possible, because technology advancements enable more sustainable and eco-friendly practices. And also technology leaps also enable improved efficiency of green technologies. And the next step is very important, and that is in relation to policies and frameworks. It's very important to make use of the EU taxonomy, as it is very objective in its framework. By using the taxonomy, companies in the same industries can be measured on the same basis, and I think that's very important in all this climate debate. Of course, then we have awareness and education, and it's important to implement educational programs to raise awareness about sustainable practices among residents, businesses, and also local government officials. And providing training opportunities for workforce to acquire the skills needed for green jobs is also very important. And last but not least, acknowledge and celebrate milestones and achievements to maintain the public interest and support, and also interest from other companies in the area where you live. So showcase successful projects as examples for other cities and regions to emulate. So that should be my input to this issue.
Thank you very much. Let's move to Amsterdam. Marja Ruikrok. Amsterdam has been always how to say, a flagship city. Many cities in the Intelligent Cities Challenge are looking for face-to-face opportunities to learn from Amsterdam, especially on the local Green Deals issue. So you explained very well one of the local Green Deals, but in a nutshell, if you would recommend, let's say, smaller cities as the ones that we have in the Intelligent Cities Challenge to embark in this local Green Deals journey, what would be the recommendations from them? Where should they start?
Yes, my recommendation will be, don't make it bigger than to be needed. You have to start with the group of the Coalition of the Willing, and even small companies can join with a pilot, or just to start with an example for teaching children to bike. We had a company that was a startup when they joined our Green Deal cycling, and they grow in cooperating with it. The best thing is that it's not anything extra to do, but it has to be a part of the business of small businesses, so they can join and they can participate, but they can earn money as well. So that is a big success. For a political point of view, we have to have a long-term commitment, because that is what knowledge institutions will need, or the businesses that will cooperate. And you have to create ownership. There has to be some company or a knowledge institution or a municipality that says, well, this is my project, and let's go and do things, not to talk all the time.
Yes, indeed. Great. Thank you very much. And moving to, she left you. Evelina, what would be your recommendation for other cities? You had a very nice story to share from a city that was at the brink of collapse practically, and how you managed to rejuvenate that. But it would be your top recommendations for other cities, what would that be?
Well, I would say have a dialogue both with the companies and with the citizens, because we have done a survey, I think it was 2021, and 93.7% of the population here in Skellefteå were positive of the things happening here, because they understand that we needed to make a change, and they understand that we needed to make a change and focus on the sustainability. And because we had those dialogue with the companies, and as David said, the companies also wanted to be a part of the changing society and the change of Skellefteå. So I would say have the citizens dialogue, and really talk to the people and talk to the companies on meeting and on the streets everywhere about things that you want to achieve as a political actor.
Great, thank you. And David?
Yeah, I think my recommendations are to be brave and try new ways of businesses. And of course, work in collaboration with your clients and other companies to make it. And another thing is make the procurement in a way that every party strive towards the same goal. That's very important to do that. And also remember that there is no conflict between sustainability and economy. So in the long term, it's always cheaper to do things in a sustainable way.
Maria, you like the comment. Would you like to add something on this? I believe it's a very timely discussion about economic and sustainability.
Yeah, I think that's the basic point, that it doesn't has to be something extra, but it has to be a way of life or something that is, very easy or simple to do, because it's better for your company, it's better for the environment, it's better for everyone.
Absolutely. And I believe this is more and more the narrative that is being adopted also in the in the context of COP28. You see, at the beginning, the narrative was more everything that is good for the environment, although it has huge costs. The language, I notice, has moved now to whatever is good for the environment and for the society is also better economically, brings more jobs, better jobs, more satisfaction, etc. So indeed, this is, I believe, the narrative that seems to gain lots of traction right now. With this, I would like to, in 1 minute, try to summarize the main takeaways of this very, very rich discussion. I would like to thank you all of our distinguished speakers there. From my takeaways, climate action has no borders, so it can only be implemented when cities and communities participate in this one. So the idea here is that while we think globally, like in the COP28, we act locally, and better to start with a long vision that can be implemented in parts and phases. Political leadership is very important, as we've heard from all of you, but it should not be limited to a short-term vision of the mayor only. So bringing together the community, coalitions with the businesses, this justifies and guarantees that the long-term vision will remain longer with cities. Skills is a huge issue. All of you mentioned the issue of skills and upskilling of the businesses, of the workforce, but also of the officials of the local governments in order to stay up to date with the new challenges, how to respond with policy responses to these new challenges, and also very practical things like how to do better innovative public procurement, having sustainability in mind. While large companies like the ones that we had with us today are very clear about their long-term commitment, their sustainability objectives, and their willingness to participate and contribute to the transition of their city, small companies and citizens may have more difficulty to join. Therefore, some projects and some more incentives may be necessary to support them in this way. And finally, achieving the future that we want to see lies in the hands of all of us, with practically the lifestyle choices that we all make. So let them be responsible, and let us all contribute to this major climate action. With this, I would like to thank you very much, all of you, and looking forward to stay in touch and to discuss on the implementation of all these issues in the months and years to come. Thank you for joining us.